Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Rob Latch. I'm the Executive Director of the Bond Review Board. As you may recall, we have three main charges of the Bond Review Board. One is to review and approve state debt before it goes to market. Additionally, we act as curators for that information after the sale, and all the information we gather is sent to the Controller's Office, and with every future official statements, that information is included. Secondly, we do the curation of local government debt. So every issuance that happens at the local level, we take that issuance and we orient it to the state's fiscal year to have comparable apples to apples comparison among all the local issuers. So if you ever see any local debt information that's in aggregate, we are likely the source. If it's from the Texas Tribune, the Controller's Office, the LBB, that debt started at our agency, and that machinations happen there. And thirdly, we administer the private activity bond program for the state of Texas. After the 1986 Tax Act, there was a bit of indecision on how to handle private entities or private works that did public good. And in essence, the Fed said, we're going to allow the states to administer that, and we administer this year. We're going to administer over $4 billion in volume cap for the state. As mentioned, agency appropriations for the past two fiscal years were just around $1.3 million. Although the agency is funded solely from general revenues, during fiscal years 2023 and 2024, we received deposits of just about $2.2 million in private activity bond applications and fees. There were a couple of items that I guess were left out of the recommendation. One was our database, what we call refresh and modernization. The current database that we have online was built in 2015, and it uses a outdated Microsoft Access GUI, and we'd like to move to kind of a web app GUI that would facilitate further growth and basically allow us to move to the future with what we can do as far as our data that is out there. Additionally, we have a couple other items. One was a retainage for a portal website and database management, and then also a small salary adjustment to ensure that we keep staff as well as we can. We have, unfortunately, over the past 5 years, had kind of averaged a 20% turnover ratio, and serendipitously, since October this year, we are actually averaging a 27% turnover ratio. So ideally, we would like to get to a point where we can lock in, especially our junior analysts, to do a lot of that initial number crunching. And as far as presentation, that's all I have. And you have a number of charts that are there that we've included, and as well as some graphs that might be interesting as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. I do not see any questions. Oh, you got to hit that button.
The definition of local,
Yes, it includes, in fact, if we do a local annual report and we get into all the different types of local governments. When I started the Bond Review Board a couple decades ago, the largest component of that used to be cities. We've seen AISDs grow. They now, they're above 1/3 of local government debt. We have other special districts, we have counties, we have health and hospital districts, we have basically any governmental entity, local governmental entity that issues debt, we enumerate it. The one thing we do not catch at the local level, we have a difficult time catching conduit debt, and that's where a local government might set up a public facility corporation or housing finance corporation. That's kind of vague as to whether it should be reported to us directly. So that's our weakness. So when you look at the aggregate debt for the state, we are perfect on that. That is something we have our finger on, from authorization to issuance. But at the local level, we only get that data reported to us when they close with the AG's office.
So if I looked at page 9, it would say 80.5% of the debt being tracked on this particular chart is local versus 19.5 at the state.
That's and this is a source to compare other states. We obviously don't have ability to force them to or compel them to provide us data. We're using the U.S. Census Bureau, and this data is a little dated. It's from 2024, just this past December. But yes, this is not our source, but this is what we're able to do state to state comparison. And we're relying on the Census Bureau for this chart.
And so your agency could get us, or the LBB, kind of the breakdown of where that debt is. What I'm interested in, Madam Chair, is seeing if debt has ballooned since we've done revenue caps, and to see if we're offloading it in debt and paying interest or not on the local level, and then also to be able to chart our school districts as we compress rates. I'm old enough to have been in this building when our M&O was $1.50. Very few people remember that, and so we went down to $1. It could go up to $1.04 without a tax ratification election. We have compressed all the way down. I have school districts, Madam Chair, you probably do too, that are in the 70s. We're compressing down to 60 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, we're and as you do that, there has been a very aggressive building. Of course, we are growing as a state. We've heard that from Secretary Nelson and others. So I'm not being critical of that, but I would like to be able to see these spikes, the peaks and the valleys, and for us to maybe make some assumptions on policy changes and how that's
And I think
affected.
further along, we do get into debt issuance at the local level.
What page would that be?
Yeah,
on?
I
didn't
think it's
see it.
me. It's page 8. I'm not sure where it is in the LBB, and it's a local government debt issued by billions.
I saw that, and I guess it's not as defined as I
We can
like
provide that to
to
you.
see that.
With
And-
broken out by sector, if you will.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Flores, I think your light's just been on. You don't have a question. Why don't you hit that so I don't not call on you if you have a question? I know you're always thinking of a question, but I just need a little cue from you. Thank you. All right, that's all the questions we have. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to move on to the Department of Information Resources.